Now your doorbell is your dinner bell. A big Bobox delivery from Bojangles will feed the whole family. Just tap your app for 8 pieces of chicken, biscuits, fixins, and tea. It's Bo time.
All right, so I'd love to hear about your background growing up in Hereford outside of Baltimore. Why lacrosse and why not a basketball or a volleyball because of your height?
Yeah, so growing up, I played a lot of different sports. I played soccer, basketball, lacrosse. I rode horses a little bit, but my sister took that a lot further than I did. In high school, I sort of knew, like, basically my freshman year that I wanted to play college lacrosse. And so that's sort of where I focused, like, all of my outside of school activity, I would say. But I still knew, like, I wanted to play basketball all 4 years, so I couldn't not practice that. So we had a basketball hoop in, like, the top of our driveway. I played JV my first 2 years and then varsity my last 2 years. But I really loved that. And then with soccer, my mom played soccer, so that's sort of why I got into that. And I really enjoyed that, but I only played like JV my first 2 years, and I realized like I wanted to spend my time playing other sports and focusing more on lacrosse. So that's sort of where that started.
Which of those sports do you think translated to lacrosse and maybe helped you the most?
I would say basketball, I guess. People say like basketball and lacrosse are very similar, and I definitely think there's a lot of similarities, like with the physicality and a lot of like picks and screens.
Tell me more about your family. I think your dad was an All-American at Townsend for football. And I think your mom played at Townsend as well.
Yeah.
How did they push you and Jordan to be the best you could?
Yeah, so like you said, my mom played at Towson. She was a soccer goalie, and I remember her telling us at the time, like, she had the record for most saves and most goals let in, and that was because they were like a very new program at the time. I think she was like on the team when it had just started. So she was really good at soccer, and then my dad always talked to me about like his experience at Towson, how like coming in, he didn't have a scholarship and didn't play his first 2 years, and he had to work really, really hard to like later gain scholarship and like see playing time. So I think that's sort of where like my hard work sort of stems from, or one of the reasons, because like going into my freshman year, I didn't really have any super high expectations because of like what my parents' experiences were. But I knew that if I worked really hard, like that could become a possibility, and it did.
So you grew up around Baltimore, but you didn't go to one of those private schools. And like you said, your parents always pushed you to be the best you could and kind of ignore the outside noise. You weren't highly recruited coming out of high school. How do you think your parents set you up for that? And how did they kind of get that chip on your shoulder, not being recruited?
Yeah, so a lot of girls that I played club with growing up all went to private school, and I like love my friends and the atmosphere and everything, so I never really had like an urge to go to private school. But I also don't think that gave me like you said, I wasn't very highly recruited. I was only getting looked at by JMU and like Penn State barely, which like was something that I didn't really overthink at the time. Because like those were just my options and I had to deal with it. But I'm really glad that like Shelly decided to like heavily recruit me, because I absolutely love it here.
Why JMU? Why do you think if you're a blue chip recruit coming out again, but this time maybe you had an offer from Florida, or you had an offer from somewhere else that's really impressive, why should they go to JMU instead? I
think one of the things that I fell in love with when I was looking around here, I mean, there were so many things that I liked, which I can talk about, but I feel like it's just the culture. When I came on visits, I got to hang out with like all the girls. They were all just so nice, and I felt like I really could fit in there. And I loved all of the, the traditions that they had. And then I heard about like along the recruiting process. And then talking to like our friends and family and people that we just knew who went to JMU, I had only heard good things, and like those two main factors like paired together, I was like, how could I go wrong with this decision? And then like later finding out that their food's amazing and the campus is like so pretty compared to other places that we've played and been to. It's just really helped me make my decision to come here.
As you sort of near the end, don't want to get too sorrow in here, but what do you think is maybe your favorite moment? I might have one in mind, but what do you think is your favorite moment playing at Centera Park?
When I think about last year and beating Maryland and coming back from like a 5-goal deficit in the fourth quarter, I think that probably would be my favorite memory, because it also took us to like the farthest that we've been in NCAAs since I've been here.
Take me through that game a little bit. I mean, I always think about the play when you scored. I think it might have been the tying goal, but you like ran through Abby Bosco, who was like the National Defender of the Year.
Yeah.
How much of a juice goal was that, and how is it to have the environment at Centera Park?
Yeah, there were so many people in that game, and I think the energy in the stadium and on the field was just nothing that I've ever felt before. But in that moment, when I scored a couple goals to like catch us back up to them, I wasn't really thinking anything like out of the ordinary. Like, I need to take this, like the team's on my back. I kind of just did what I normally do and didn't really change my mentality at all. And that definitely helped us like come out with a win at the end.
About this season, there's been a little bit more ups and downs than last. What has been sort of the vibe in the locker room to really turn play around and capitalize on AAC tournament play?
Like, no season is going to be perfect. I feel like last year our record was like pretty close to perfect, but we still definitely had our struggles. I think this year we're just like taking it one game at a time and not really overthinking our losses, but learning from them. If we end up seeing Florida in conference championship, like, I think that's a game that we really need to hone in on and prove to ourselves that we can beat a top 10 team again. Since our win against UNC, I don't think we've been able to. But yeah, I think our loss to Florida and Maryland and Hopkins has really taught us a lot about ourselves, and we haven't given up, and we're not planning on it in the next couple games.
I'd like to chat to you about some of the off-the-field stuff you've done. I know you're sponsored by Gate Lacrosse. Have you met Gary and Paul Gate?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. I've done like one like photo session with them, which was when I signed the NIL deal with them. So that was like a great experience, getting to meet all the other people who are sponsored by Gate. And I think most of like my involvement with them will probably be over the summer, because they know how big of a responsibility we have like while we're at school and how big of a commitment that is.
How much of it do you feel like NIL becoming a thing is an opportunity to kind of expose your brand?
I think it's so helpful. Not just like, I feel like when people think NIL, they think like, oh, I'm just gonna get free money because I'm a really good athlete. In some cases, yes. But how I sort of took it as, before NIL was a thing, I trained girls on the side, and I couldn't like have a company name or a website or be like, come train with Isabella Peterson. But now, ever since like I can use my name, image, and likeness, I've been able to like create a website for my training and run camps and clinics on my own. And I think it's really opened a lot of opportunities in those aspects. Not just like, it has open opportunities with like Gate and Where's Woody, which is awesome, but I think like what I enjoy most is like being able to use my name to create a company and to train girls.
How do you view that as an opportunity to grow lacrosse and also women's lacrosse in general?
I'm looking to, this summer, travel a little bit to areas that aren't as big in lacrosse. And hopefully in the fall and in the winter, I'll be able to do like travel a little bit more to places where lacrosse isn't as known. I'm really hoping to like, maybe in late August, I'd like to go overseas and maybe bring my lacrosse stick and bring another lacrosse stick and have a catch with girls on the streets, just to like help grow the game, because I know it's very popular where I grew up, but I think there's a lot more opportunity to grow the game in other areas. Like even in Harrisonburg, we held a free clinic. We had like 40 boys and girls come out, and just like they borrowed our sticks and we helped teach them some skills, and that really can change the life of someone.
In terms of like passing the torch, as you look back on your journey here, what players do you really kind of hone in your work mentality to, like a Lauren Savage or a Maddie Epke or an Emily Simkin?
Yeah, I feel like that mentality of mine stems from how I grew up, and even some of the players like before me who sort of took me under their wing. I think that it has really helped me along the way, so it's something that I want to pass down to the girls younger than me. I think it starts with Jordan, my sister. She's just as hard of a worker as I am, if not more of a hard worker. And I think just really trying to get other girls out there to put in the extra work and show that it's going to pay off at some point in the future, I think is really important for this program, and hopefully it keeps carrying on past my time here, because it's almost up.
So we can do some fun stuff now.
Okay.
What do you think is your favorite place to eat on campus?
So I haven't eaten on campus in a really long time, but two favorites I would say is, D Hall used to have really good omelets when I was a freshman. And then E Hall, you have Chicken Nugget Thursday, which I really enjoy and the team always goes to. But then I also would have to say Freshens. That was like my favorite when I was a freshman here.
Favorite place to grab a bite off campus?
I would say Billy Jack's, but I feel like a lot of people would say Billy Jack's. Oh my gosh, there's this taco truck right in front of the Outpost, like
I know exactly
the
what you're
bookstore, and it's actually amazing, the birria tacos. So that would be a recent favorite, I would say.
So you're a business major. Favorite professor?
Carl Larson. He taught a banking class and a financial investments class that I was in. So I had him twice.
Which one of those classes was your favorite?
Ooh. I would say probably the investments one, but I think the banking really showed like a different side of finance that I didn't necessarily think about.
So you do want to go pro?
I do want to go pro. I've been looking into what the schedule would look like, but I don't want to assume that I'm automatically going to be drafted. It's something that I'm really looking forward to, because I know once I start working a big girl job that I won't have that opportunity, maybe depending on who my employer is and what I end up doing. So I don't want to start working until after the pro league's over if I get asked to participate.
Yeah. Have you asked Marie and Kat about balancing the two?
Yeah, I've talked to them about their experiences. They said, like, I think they both really enjoyed it. Just the high level, the girls, the atmosphere. And I think for me, saying that I had the opportunity to play pro is something that's definitely on my bucket list.
Do you know when the Team USA tryouts are?
I don't.
You don't?
I know they chose a coach, which is good, but I'm not sure when the tryouts are.
I'm guessing that's one of your biggest goals, is to play for Team USA?
Yes, I would say that's probably my post-college career goal, main goal for sure. But I have to try out and everything, so we'll see how it goes if I get asked. Nice.
You want a shot too?
Yeah. Oh, we can't end on that. Nice.